In this tips and tricks session, we'll explore cutting complex shapes with the laser. So on screen, we can see a very complex shape that can be cut with the laser. Here is a picture of the shape itself cut. We can see that in this shape, there are quite a few contours that will prove to be challenging. One would be this narrow area in this contour. Another would be up in the top, there's a very narrow opening with kind of an island effect here, or peninsula of material as well. We've got other peninsulas in other areas. So in 1/16, maybe even 1/8 inch acrylic, this shape wouldn't be a challenge to cut out. But as we get into thicker acrylics such as 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, or even thicker, then this shape becomes a challenge because as it's being cut, a couple of things are occurring. One is the weight of the piece is pulling it down, which will cause it to potentially wedge in with a 1/8 or 1/16 thickness material. The contour would just simply drop out. But with a 1/2 inch thick material, for example, if it doesn't drop straight down or isn't supported properly with a pin cutting table, then it is going to come down at an angle and wedge because of the weight of the object. But also, as we're cutting, particularly the thicker materials, these peninsulas, these fingers that we're cutting in, will tend to distort and possibly melt back into place. So for instance, as we're cutting this long contour that turns and comes down and in, as we're making the second pass on the second side, the material is still hot and soft from that first cut pass. So when the second pass passes in close proximity, as you see here, then there's potential that that material will distort. The heat will cause it to contract or pull in one direction and will touch the side, and you will have a stick point there because the acrylic's still soft in that area that's just been cut. So there are some strategies that we can use to minimize that effect or eliminate that effect, and one would be to come in and create relief cuts where these points would be that potentially you would have sticking. The relief cut would allow an island like this to drop out as it's being cut rather than remaining part of the whole piece. And to draw those, we simply would go to a drawing tool and come in and draw a line that runs from contour to contour. Now, I'm going to zoom in on that a bit. I'm going to go ahead and give that a blue color so that it's easier to see for you and make it just an outline. So now with that as simply an outline, then you can see it. Now the strategy that I want to use is to go into the point edit mode and select this contour and then bring the ends near the contours that are being cut out. And I don't want to have those connect. I want to leave a gap between those that's the approximate diameter of the beam that we're using to cut. So in this case, we're using a beam diameter that's about 7 thousandths. So I want to leave about a 7 thousandths gap in these so that as that contour gets cut away, and we'll do the cuts on our reliefs first. So we make our relief cut, and then when the beam comes back and is cutting the finished contour, then when it reaches this corner, the diameter of the beam or the bloom of the beam will allow this island piece up here to simply drop out. So my primary contour will remain intact and remain in the sheet of material, but that little island would drop away. And what that does is allows it to drop out, and then you won't have a concern with it melting back in place because of heat distortion or something of that nature. So that will significantly help. Now in this image, you can see that I've gone in and added the relief contours where the complex angles are that would potentially cause this piece to stick. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 locations. Now, it may not have taken this many, but I know that by removing these peninsulas in these areas, these complex angles, especially this one, that I'm going to have a significantly better opportunity of my cut piece coming out clean and dropping right out. Okay. Hopefully this helped. If you have any questions, give our tech support team a call and we'll be glad to assist you.